Heya Cryptozens. Tonight's show. Feds charge former Coinbase employee and SEC identifies securities. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is July 21st, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nicodemus, and I'll be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. So take a minute, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast now, because we're here at 10 p.m. every night so that when you leave in the morning, you're taking with you the crypto news analysis that you need to start your day. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. For the first time ever, 3 people have been charged with front-running the crypto market. That's right, U.S. authorities brought charges against 3 people. And these charges include wire fraud conspiracy and wire fraud in connection with a scheme to commit insider trading. Now, that's not something we would normally cover on this show, but this is a little different because this is a first. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, they tweeted out, quote, 3 charged in first ever cryptocurrency insider trading tipping scheme. Now, the press release says, quote, former Coinbase employee allegedly tipped his brother and friend regarding crypto assets that were going to be listed on the Coinbase exchanges. And in that press release, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said, quote, today's charges are a further reminder that Web3 is not a law-free zone. Just last month, I announced the first ever insider trading case involving NFTs, and today I announced the first ever insider trading case involving cryptocurrency markets. That's right. The thing that makes it interesting to us tonight is the Coinbase factor, because that's what they've been charged with effectively. Front-running the market and using Coinbase to do it. Now, here's what I mean. Ishan Wahi is a former product manager at Coinbase Global, and he is the center of this little scheme. Also, his brother, Nikhil Wahi, and Samir Ramani. So, the story is Ishan would get confidential information through the course of his work at Coinbase. He'd find out what coins were going to be listed on Coinbase. Then he'd go buy a bunch of these coins, or tell somebody else to, and then wait for it to get listed on the exchange. Once it's listed, they'd sell the coin and then move on to the next. Reportedly, they made $1.5 million trading 25 different cryptos. Which, sorry, if I'm going to screw up my future, if I'm going to make sure I can never work in this field again, it's certainly not going to be over a lousy $500K, because that's what you get after you divide it by 3. That's right. These guys were cheating at Coinbase, and the best they could manage to do is scam up $1.5 million. That's sad. But anyway, that's the gist of it. Ishan would find out in advance that cryptos were being listed through his work as product manager from August of 2021 to May of 2022. The U.S. Attorney's Office is saying that Ishan would be misusing his position to pass on information all the way up to April of this year. Then either Nikhil or Ramani would buy up those coins and then wait for the listing. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.05 trillion. Just barely holding on. It's down 0.5% in 24 hours. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin down 2.09%, Ethereum up 1.85%, Tether, USDC, and Binance Coin up 0.88%. 14 different listings. They're saying these guys did this on at least 14 different Coinbase listings. They'd get advance notice of the listing and then buy it up only to sell them later. And it would turn out that selling these cryptos would bring their own kind of charges. But we'll talk about them in a bit. In the fullness of time, it was revealed that they used multiple Ethereum wallets to make the purchases and transfer them. The accounts on the centralized exchanges were in other people's names. And so it seems this all got started with some good old-fashioned crypto snooping. And that's the nature of the blockchain. Everything is right out in the open if you know to look for it. And that's what happened here. Because several people found these Ethereum wallets. They'd purchased a bunch of 6 tokens before they were listed. So the claims of insider trading started. And Brian Armstrong commented at the time. He acknowledged, quote, "There is always the possibility that someone inside Coinbase could wittingly or unwittingly leak information to outsiders engaging in illegal activity." And he pledged that Coinbase would work with the authorities and law firms and whatever to resolve claims of insider trading. He said, quote, "If these investigations find that any Coinbase employee somehow aided or abetted any nefarious activity, those employees are immediately terminated and referred to relevant authorities, potentially for criminal prosecution." And so it came to pass that Philip Martin got involved. He's Coinbase's Chief Information Security Officer, and he put information on the Wahis and Romani in the hands of the feds after an internal investigation. See, what happened is that Coinbase's Director of Security Operations got a hold of the U.S. Attorney's Office. That's because they had set up a meeting with Ishan, and this was on the 11th of May, and they were supposed to meet on the 16th of May. I say they were supposed to meet because it didn't happen. Now, what happened is that they told Ishan they wanted to talk to him about exchange listings assets. Instead, Ishan bought a one-way ticket to India. Law enforcement stopped him before he got on the plane. And that's because Martin gave the information to the feds first. They ended up arresting both of the Wahi brothers in Seattle. Those guys, they got them this morning, Thursday morning. Romani, however, he remains at large. The global NFT market cap is down 8.56%. Sales volume is flat even on the day. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are Bored Apes, followed by Other Deed, Moonbird's Oddities, Nina's Super Cool World, and CryptoPunks. Now, keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. Now, for their part, Coinbase is playing ball. They found out what was going on, and they warned the authorities. In a blog post, Coinbase says they took, quote, "allegations of improper use of company information very seriously," and that they have zero tolerance for this kind of misconduct. Also a quote. FBI Assistant Director Michael J. Driscoll said, "Although the allegations in this case relate to transactions made in a crypto exchange rather than a more traditional financial market, they still constitute insider trading." And so, it seems Coinbase is cheerfully cooperating with the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI. They may be less than thrilled with the involvement of the Securities Exchange Commission. So, remember those 25 currencies that the fraudsters were into? Well, the SEC is saying their own investigation brings more charges. They want to charge the Wahis and Romani with insider trading of securities. That's right, they're saying that the 3 violated anti-fraud provisions of securities laws. That's because they're saying that at least 9 of those assets involved are securities, and that list includes Power, Chromatica, DFX Finance, AMP, Rally, Rari Governance Token, Deriva DAO, LCX, and XYO. SEC Enforcement Director Gruhl spoke on this. He said, quote, "We're not concerned with labels, but rather the economic realities of an offering. In this case, those realities affirm that a number of the crypto assets at issue were securities, and as alleged, the defendants engaged in typical insider trading ahead of their listing on Coinbase." Which I find interesting, because just last night we were talking about Gruhl and the SEC, and the accusations that the SEC was trying to expand their authority through enforcement actions. That authority that they're not getting through the legislation, they're appropriating through regulation. And now it would seem that they're doing so again. Don't get me wrong, I am not standing up for these guys. If they're guilty, throw the book at them. But that's if they're guilty. I think they know that they're losing the XRP Ripple case, and they're trying to expand their powers by getting the definition of securities expanded through, again, regulation, not legislation. That sentiment is shared by CFTC Commissioner Carolyn Pham. In a tweet, she said, quote, "The case SEC versus Wahi is a striking example of regulation by enforcement." So I guess the thing to do is to study those 9 tokens and see what makes the SEC say that they are securities. Because Chair Gensler seems reluctant to let us know what he does and doesn't consider to be a security, unless you go meet with him and then you risk enforcement actions. Now, Coinbase, they just say no. They say none of the cryptos that they list are securities. And they're pointing out the fact that the Justice Department didn't charge anybody with unregistered securities. Only the SEC brought these kind of charges, and they only brought them against the 3 defendants. They didn't charge Coinbase with selling unregistered securities, even though they're saying that Coinbase listed them on the exchange. It just doesn't make much sense. All right, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. You stay safe out there. Watch out for yourselves, but watch out for each other too. We'll see you tomorrow night.